What's going on, guys? It's Kyle again with DTOM Knives and Gear, and today we are going to be looking at the Benchmade Contego. I have two here sent by two different gentlemen. One is a KnifeWorks exclusive and one is the regular version. What are the differences? Is this a knife I like? Stay tuned. All right, welcome back, everybody. Okay, first things first, we have two of the same model. One is an exclusive, and one is the regular version of the Benchmade 810 Contego. This one was loaned to me by my good friend, Dark Gravity. His Instagram will be linked down in the description. Dark Gravity has become a really good friend of mine. He is a local gentleman to me, so we are actually able to get together, talk about knives, and it is really, really fun and enjoyable for me to do so because, us knife nuts got to stick together. And then this one was sent by my buddy Jeremy, Freak Show EDC. He saw that I unboxed this and he was like, hey, when I'm sending you these other knives, I'm going to send you this one so you can kind of compare the two. And I was like, heck yeah. So awesome. These two gentlemen are very cool. Freak Show EDC will also be linked down in the description to go check him out on his Instagram. He also sharpens knives too, by the way. So if you were looking to get your knife sharpened by somebody who knows what they're doing, definitely go check him out. All right, what do we have here? Well, the Benchmade Contego. This knife, as you can see, is a Kyle-sized knife. These things are big boys. Now, if you look at this profile, you might say, hey, that kind of looks like something. And yeah, it definitely does. This thing is a Benchmade 940 on steroids is what this thing is. Of course, because it looks like that, this is, as you can see here and here, an Osborne design. Sadly, he did pass away. I actually just heard about that. I don't know when. I guess it was, not too long ago. But super sad because he has been a huge awesome designer for the knife community, especially for Benchmade, and the 940 and the Contego 940 being an iconic design from Benchmade. So anyways, these knives I have really enjoyed having in pocket. What are these knives for? Well, these are work knives. 100%, no doubt about it. This knife would basically be perfect for anybody who is having to wear gloves, especially because of the rough texture and very gym-tastic knife that this is, which we will go over in a second. But that's what this knife is I guess marketed to, because that is what it's for. Benchmade, of course, with the axis lock, very fidgety, excuse me, and still very hard use, locks up great. So I think that most people who purchase this knife and what this knife was designed for is for those people kind of, first responders and those guys, firefighters, I think will just absolutely love this knife because of the grip that you get on this thing, and because in this base model, it comes with M4 blade steel. Now, M4 is one of my favorite steels because it is a tough steel. It holds an edge for a long time. Just a great steel. I have a few knives that had to have M4, and I love it. I absolutely love it. It is amazing. Now, KnifeWorks did an exclusive, which is this knife. The only differences really is, as you can see, kind of does have a cool layered G10 with that blue pattern, but this knife does not have a coating on it like this one has a Cerakote, which is a really cool and good job too they do there. If I can get it to focus. See how great that color is? I really dig that. I think it looks amazing. But this one is not coated. Why? Because it doesn't need to be coated. This one is an M390. So M390, also one of the best steels around, but definitely a lot more stainless properties with the M390 than the M4. So that's why the M4 is coated. Love them both. I would say probably for me, the M4, if I'm going to be doing a lot of hard work, probably the M4 I would pick, but that's just me. I'm not a steel snob or anything like that, but M4 is just a little bit tougher, and so that's kind of why I would choose that. But I love 20CV. You guys know it's one of my favorite steels, especially for EDC. So the only other difference really between these two knives, between this instead of the blade steel and the color, is the original one comes with a glass breaker, and this one does not. I don't need a glass breaker. I've never had to use one. Might come in handy one day. I don't know. But for what this knife is designed for, I'm glad they have it. But more so, I'm glad they made it like this, because I have seen some glass breakers that are obnoxiously stupid, and I don't like them. This one is just very, very subtle. It'll get the job done, but it's not intrusive. So I actually like the fact that it does have that on there, because they did it well. I'm like some Microtechs, and holy crap, I don't like their glass breakers because they're huge. But this one, done very, very well. How are the ergonomics on this guy? Freaking amazing. This thing fits in my hand amazingly. I do have bigger hands, but if you have smaller hands, I do believe I watched a review of Nick Shabazz, and even he said it was very, very ergonomic in his hands. So when he's got small hands, so I think this thing would be great for anybody. It's just on what you're going to use the knife for. I mean, I don't think a lot of people, other than the gentlemen that are like myself and Dark Gravity, we like to carry these kind of knives. The big, strong knives, and this definitely fits that. But it would make a great EDC for somebody who has larger hands and likes to carry these big long blades, because the blade length on this guy is just under 4 inches. So you've got a lot of blade to do a lot of task with. I did mention that it was a little jump-tastic. As you can see, we've got jimping all over this dude. And it's kind of funny, if you go watch Jake over at Bearded Gear, he did a review on this guy too. And he did. That's what hit the word he used, why I'm using it, jump-tastic. Because, yeah, it's got a lot of jimping. It's got very aggressive G10. So this thing is not leaving your hand once you have a grip on it at all. You will not slip on this knife, 100%. Now, because of the jimping that's on there, it might be a little rough on your hands. With me, it's not really, because, my hands are not soft, dainty little things. But, if you are using this knife, I think a lot of people who use this knife for a work application would be using gloves. It would probably be a little bit more comfortable in that setting. But I just dig the ergos. There is no jimping up on the blade, which obviously you do not need, not on this knife. But it has this little area where my thumb rests and where I can get behind the knife and do some work. And I really, really love the way this thing feels. Also, one of my complaints with the 940 was the thickness behind the edge. It was just really thick to be an EDC size knife. These things are 20 thousandths behind the edge. Perfection. Slices like a dream. This one was sharpened by Freak Show EDC. This one has its factory edge on it. Both of them slice so well. So for a big, hard use knife, it has tough steel on this one, relatively tough on this. I've been kind of getting away from this, but I am going to do it. Just kind of, to show you the difference between CPM M4 and M390. So both have really good edge retention. The M4, as you can see, does have not as good corrosion resistance as the M390. The toughness, I would think that this is kind of maybe not as accurate. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a metallurgist, but that Dark Gravity he actually is an authority on steels. So he could probably go in the comments when this video is posted and let you know. But this one has a 6 on the toughness scale. This one has a 7. I believe that this might be a little too close. I think M4 is a lot more tougher than M390, but I may be mistaken. He can help us out with that, because that's what I like about M4 is its toughness. But as you can see, both great edge retention. So yeah, I mean, if you're somebody, I love it because of the toughness, and that's why they put that coating on there, because it doesn't have the corrosion resistance. But I just like M4. I've just had a lot of good experiences with M4 on other knives, and so I am a fan. So Ergonomically, these things are great. These things both have the exact same action. I can middle finger flick it from the thumb stud. I can throw it out with the thumb stud, or, of course, with all Benchmades, you can just whip it out using the axis lock. So fidget factor is there for anybody who likes to play with their knives throughout the day. Yeah, it definitely ticks that box. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons because this thing is, of course, a bigger knife. It is about 9.28 inches long with, like I said, just under a 4-inch blade. The blade stock thickness is 160, and which is cool because with that flat grind, like I said, comes with about 20 thousandths behind the edge, so it really does make it a slicey knife, which you wouldn't think it would be. And then, of course, like I said, Cerakote on this one. So let's go ahead. Some of my other bigger Benchmades. Here it is against the Crooked River. Full size, so as you can see, very similar in size. Crooked River might have it just by a hair. And then, of course, we have one of my favorite Benchmades. This is the Benchmade Super Freak. This one is the other knife that I have it in for, which is one of the reasons that I love M4s because I've used this knife. But as you can see, definitely a much smaller knife. And this one is considered to be big, so that ought to tell you something. And then, of course, your regular size comparison that we have, the Benchmade Spyderco PM2. So definitely a big knife. Now, one other knife that I have that is about as long that I just love bringing out just because I can, because I love the knife so much. Here it is against the Spartan Harsey Folder. So as you can see, this actually has it by just a hair as far as overall length. So not a small guy, definitely made for work. And with that long blade, you can definitely get some work done for about anything that you can. Now, both of these guys said, hey, use these knives. And so I did. Now, the use that I do out of knives is cutting packages open, some zip ties, cardboard. I did that with both of these. And it's just not enough data to tell you which one is better than the other. It's kind of why I brought out the steel guide there from Blade HQ. I couldn't really tell a difference. Obviously from just what I have done, because I didn't do enough to dull them. I'm not going to, Dark Gravity was like, yeah, sharpen it, whatever. I just don't like doing that to other people's knives. He's such an awesome dude, and he would not mind if I did that, but I can't. So I didn't. But both blades just worked phenomenally for every task that I threw at it. One thing that I probably cut that I don't usually cut, we have some plastic tubing at work that we were doing some packaging up of some parts, and both of these knives with that 20 thousandths grind or 20 thousandths behind the edge just flew through that plastic tubing. It was pretty thick, probably about an eighth of an inch thick wall on that tubing that I cut, and it just handled it like a dream. These things, they cut, and they cut very well, which they're tools. These especially, absolutely tools. I love knives. Some knives I have that I love because they just look good. They have great designs. This is a great design overall and works phenomenally. Like I said, I just don't know if a lot of people are going to like the real aggressive feel of the G10 with the jimping on there. I think some people are going to be turned off about it. Matter of fact, I know that Jake was turned off on this knife because of that. But it was designed, in my opinion, for people to go out and work, have gloves on, and go to town. So I think that the jimping is there for a reason, so I can't knock it for the jimping. It's sticking out, as you can see. Let's see if we can do that. So yeah, as you can see, well, it sticks out there, with these liners. It is full steel liners, and it is milled out to help with the weight, which I don't think we covered. The weight on these guys are around, what did I say, about 5.2 ounces, so just under 6 ounces, so definitely not light at all, but not ridiculous. I found it to be very, very, of course, I carry a lot of big knives, guys, so I might be a little impartial as far as how it carries in pocket, but as far as the profile, as you can see, profile in the pocket, it's no different than a PM2, which is very awkward with this hole here. So, not very different there. They both come with pocket clips. deep carry pocket clips from Benchmade that work absolutely wonderful. I love the way the Benchmade does their loop over pocket clip. Some people, or sometimes I can feel that loop over pocket clip, but in this thing, not at all, especially because the handle is so long and I've got so much room. I don't feel that pocket clip. So that is done great. I kind of wish they'd have put the black parkerized pocket clip on this one. I think it would just look better on the knife. This one does look good on it because of the satin blade. So I think that works. This one I think could use that black parkerized other than this, you know, polished steel one. But that's just me. So, I mean, I guess it does with the hardware and stuff kind of look there. But I think it would look better with the black one just because I want to be different, right? So anyways, I really enjoy carrying these guys. A lot of people, when I had this in pocket and flipped it out, they were like, whoa, okay, you like big knives, then that's a big one. Yeah, they're big. They're made for work. Some guys at my work are huge Benchmade fans. Some guys are not huge Benchmade fans. I only own 2 Benchmades right now, which is that Crooked River and the Super Freak, and I love them both. I don't know why I don't have more Benchmades. This one would definitely be in my wheelhouse. I would definitely own this knife for work. You know, this one is another one they call the reverse Tonto. Just like on the other knife that we just got through reviewing, which is the Loco. And as you can see, that same kind of look, which is on the 940 as well. So very popular blade, that 940. Everybody, I mean, definitely one of the benchmark knives from Benchmade that just went crazy. And so you want an upgrade of it. You think that thing's too small for your hands? Boom, there you go. This thing is definitely a 940 on steroids. And that's the only way I can put it. I mean, I think it just fits to a T what this knife is all about. So that's about it, guys. I just really enjoyed carrying this knife. You know, every time that I carried it and whipped it out, I was like, what can I go cut? I got to cut something because this thing is made for work. And whenever I had these in my pocket, I wanted to cut stuff. You know, some knives I carry in my pocket and I just like to play with, and, you know, when something comes up, yeah, I cut it. But these things, it was like calling me, what can I cut? Give me something to cut, because that's what these knives are for. Benchmade did a great job with this. And I would highly recommend it if you were looking for a good Benchmade workhorse of a knife. These things are also reasonably priced. I think at $173, I would pay that all day, every day for this knife. I mean, the Benchmade Super Freak is about $195, $191. And then as you can see, you get much more cutting edge with the Contego. And so, yeah, and both the same blade steel. So I think it's a super deal for this knife. So I know you can't get the KnifeWorks exclusive anymore. I couldn't find one anyways on their website. So I'm pretty sure the only way you can find this one is on the secondary market. But this one is readily available. It's a knife they are still making. They're not discontinued or anything. So if you are looking for a workhorse of a knife for Benchmade with a great steel, M4 steel, boom, there you go. I really, really can't recommend it enough for that particular purpose. May not be the best knife for EDC, and I get it. But for a workhorse, yeah. And for anybody who is, I think firefighters probably would just be a great candidate for this, because of the gloves they have to wear. You got plenty of room. You got a glass breaker. It's just an excellent knife for, I think, that kind of application, also for law enforcement, that kind of stuff. So anyways, thanks for stopping by and checking these out with me. I so want to thank Dark Gravity and Freak Show EDC. Those two guys have been amazingly supportive of me in the channel, and I could not thank them enough. Such great guys. Definitely go check them out in the description. I will have them both linked. All of my subscribers, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. This has just been so much fun for me. I really appreciate it. Stay safe out there, guys, in this crazy world that we're living in, and we will see you in the next one.